If you want to pump your body and expand your mind, there's only one place to go. Mind Pump. Mind Pump with your hosts, Sal DiStefano, Adam Schaefer, and Justin Andrews.
You are listening to the world's #1 fitness, health, and entertainment podcast. This is Mind Pump. Okay, so today we answered questions that were asked by our audience, fitness questions. But the way we open the episode is with an intro portion. So we talk about current events, talk about scientific studies. We mention our sponsors.
Stuff that doesn't make sense sometimes.
I'm going to give you a rundown of this whole podcast right now. So we open up by talking about how somebody paid someone else in pennies, thousands of dollars worth of pennies because they're a jerk.
Yeah.
Then Adam talked about his deliveries that he gets to his door. He likes to order everything to his door, and how ButcherBox has the best customer service
Hands
anywhere.
down.
I agree with him. ButcherBox actually replaced one of my boxes one time because it was left out in the sun. Now, they're a great company that provides grass-fed, healthy meats to your door. Very, very low priced, but also very good quality. Go check them out. Use the Mind Pump discount. Go to butcherbox.com/Mind Pump. And the Mind Pump offer gives you free ground beef for life. That's 2 pounds of grass-fed, grass-finished ground beef for life. That's really, really good. Then we talked about the controversy of men's versus women's basketball, their training facilities. There's a lot of people claiming sexism, so we have a...
Here we go.
Talk about that. Then we talked about the blockbuster documentary on Netflix. I talked about Justin's handsome face and glasses. He looks really good.
Right.
The glasses he's wearing are blue blockers from Felix Gray. And, of course, we have our own link, so go check them out. Go to felixgrayglasses.com. That's FELIXGRAY glasses.com/Mind Pump. And then you can go check them out. Then I talk about this book that came out talking about how our reproductive system is declining. Penises are even shrinking. Sperm counts may be down to 0 in a little over 20 years. Crazy, crazy stuff. Then we get into the questions. So here's the first one that we answered. This person wants to know what the best exercise is to build the quads. The next question says, what's the fastest way to recover after getting sore? The third question, this person wants to know when to stop reverse dieting. And then the final question, this person wants to add running to their weightlifting routine, wants to know when the best time is to run so it doesn't conflict with their resistance training. Also, we are running a huge promotion this month. We have 2 individual workout programs that are 50% off, and we have a workout program bundle that's 50% off. So the first program that's on sale is MAPS HIT. That's high intensity interval training. The second program that's on sale is MAPS Split. That's a body part bodybuilding routine. And then the bikini bundle is the bundle that's 50% off. You can go check them out and more at mapsfitnessproducts.com and then use the code SPRINGBREAK for the discount.
T-shirt time! And it's T-shirt time!
Oh, shit, Doug. You know it's my favorite time of the week.
We've got 2 big winners this week. We have one for Apple Podcast, one for Facebook. The Apple Podcast winner is Chris Lambert, 79. And for Facebook, we got Jeffrey Szymanski. Both of you are winners. Send the name I just read to iTunes at mindpumpmedia.com. Include your shirt size and your shipping address, and we'll get that shirt right out to you.
Hey, I got something for you guys, dude.
What you got?
Yesterday this dropped, so hopefully I'm like the first to bring this up. But I died laughing. Katrina actually shared it with me. There's a luxury auto shop guy. Okay, he owns this. Like they work on Ferraris and Lambos and stuff like that, right? And it's going viral right now, and it was all over the news last night. He fired an employee, and he paid their final check in pennies.
Oh, I think I might have seen this when he paid him in oil, right?
Yeah. Okay, so do you know why?
No, well, he must have really pissed them off.
So, yeah, totally. The guy's an asshole, too, by the way. It's unfortunate because you guys know I've pulled a similar move off.
You did this when your car got towed.
Similar. It was quarters, though, first of all, so it wasn't nowhere near. So that's like, you're talking about like almost 1,000 pounds of fucking pennies. Like it was.
And now legally, it's legal tender. So you
have to accept it?
Yeah. What are you going to do?
There's nothing illegal he did. And then in addition to that, what Justin said is there's like this oil on him. So it's like kind of grimy and shit. You know what? And I didn't know this, but you know why that's like just fucking hilarious?
Why?
because you can't take it to the bank until you clean all that shit off.
No. So he's got 1,000 pounds of pennies, and he has to clean them all.
Yes.
Wow.
Are they just gonna? I mean, at that point, you just go, "Well, I'm not dealing with this."
Yeah, no,
they just throw it away.
They just put it in a. No, it's thousands of dollars.
Thousands?
Thousands of dollars.
Oh, I thought it was like a couple $100.
No, it's like a couple $1,000s. It was their final check.
Wow.
And I think he dropped it off in their driveway with a little note, and that was covered in oil. And he had to get he got a wheelbarrow and filled the entire thing up, right? And it's just sitting in their garage. And that they were talking to him, right? They interviewed him, and it said that they can't take it to the bank until they clean all the oil off.
Well, don't you have to clean them and then also
Roll them.
roll them
Yeah.
into those things?
Yeah.
So I mean, how long would that? It would take him like
forever.
a month.
A long
It's the
time.
ultimate FU. Right?
Yes. Yeah. Now, what sucks was like I was so excited to read. I read the article, then I watched the video on the news and everything like that. And I was totally pro this asshole move because I'm like, you know what? Probably some fucking dumbass kid deserved it, right? Mm-hmm. But the guy's kind of a douchebag. Like they interviewed like 5 like former employees.
They're like, yeah, he's a dick.
Yeah, like he's done some like really.
Now you paid your bill because they towed your car a bunch of times and they were assholes, and you paid them in quarters.
I've been in quarters,
and they had to accept it, right?
Yeah, they had to accept it.
How many?
It was a lot. It was, and I broke it up, right? So I didn't give it to him in the roll. So I got it from the bank. So it was all about.
You actually went out of your way to do all that.
Oh, absolutely. Well, because they had ruined my day at that point. If those that haven't been listening to the podcast for a long time don't remember the story, but I lived in an apartment complex or a condo, right? That's where my first condo was out. And there's a hustle here. If you guys don't know about this, like a lot of these like gated communities, they work deals out with these tow truck drivers.
Oh yeah, it's always the same company. In fact, there's always a phone number on the side.
Yes. Yeah, and it's a backdoor deal. It's like the complex. So the complex I live in, I own the place and pay my fucking HOAs that were ridiculous and everything. I'm only allowed 1 car outside of my garage that I get a parking pass for. Well, for someone who has 3 cars or more, you're pretty much screwed. Or if you have a roommate, which I also had. So I had a roommate, plus I had multiple cars. So we couldn't even park in our own gated community. We have to park outside of that. So they have a deal at midnight. You know, tow truck comes in, he has the gate code, puts the gate code in, cruises the parking lot.
Makes some money.
Swoops up a bunch of these. So they used to do this to me, and I had the attitude of like, you know, and if I had a girlfriend over or someone spend the night or what like that, I'd be like, God, what am I going to do? And by the way, at this time in my life, I'm living on East Side San Jose, which those that don't know, it's like that's the ghetto side. And in the gated community, I felt safe, but right outside of that, like your shit's getting jacked.
Yeah, cars get broken into.
It's gonna be on blocks.
So the way I looked at it was like, I'll just roll the dice, you know, with possibly getting towed or trying to play this, hide and go seek.
It's a high bill, dude. It's like $300-$400.
Oh yeah, so it was normal. Every month, sometimes multiple times a month, I was paying for tow fees, and it was just like I chalked it up to the game, like whatever. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to risk parking it out there. Like I just kept doing it. It was I didn't want to park outside the complex. I'd rather
the tow truck knew your address. And
they knew the people at the tow place knew me because I'd show up and honestly, it was like. I almost just laughed it off. You got me again. It was like kind of that attitude. Like I know I'm not supposed to be parking in there. They've got me a bunch of times. Every time you come, you have to bring your ID, your registration, your license, all that stuff. And they had to fill out in this book, and they stamp. It's like you could go back and you could see me every time, every car I've had and which one's been towed every time. And this one time, I'm late for work too, but already, right? So I'm already running behind, and I get there. And for some reason, I didn't have my registration. I think I was driving a Toyota at that time, and I didn't have the registration on me. Yet I was literally towed just last week. Like
you walk in, they're like, Adam.
Yeah, and then they're like, oh no, well you need your registration or we can't give you your car. And I'm just like, come on, I was just here last week. Flip the fucking book back. You could see my registration right there. It's a week ago. You just towed me. Oh no, and the lady who older lady just being a bitch to me, total bitch to me. And I'm like, are you serious? You're really going to make me go all the way back home just to get my registration? So I had to get a ride, go back. And at that point, I was so pissed. I was like, that's it. I'm going to go to the bank and pay these motherfuckers in quarters. So I got all the quarters, which, it was like a plastic bag about that big. Broke them all up and sat them on the counter.
Here's your money.
Yeah. Walked next door to McDonald's and got myself a coffee and sat there.
She had to count.
Yeah, because they wouldn't let me go until they counted it. So I was kind of somewhat shooting myself in the foot, right? I mean, if I would have done that in pennies, they would have made me sit there and count out.
That's commitment, dude. You were committed to getting them back.
Yeah, I was so.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I was like, I'm so mad about this. What my day's shot. I'm already late. I'm calling in. I'm not going to work today.
Let's make everybody miserable.
Yeah. So I'm like, I'm over there pretending like I'm not bothered anymore, drinking my cup of coffee, but I'm here fuming inside. So, but yeah, this guy does this. I think it's absolutely hilarious. Unfortunately, this guy's an asshole though. Yeah. So but I thought that was.
What are the odds? Yeah.
What a great move. Me and my buddy did that, but not because for any other reason than we just thought it was funny. So we were the assholes. We paid for a pizza like that with a bunch of coins.
Why would you do that to a pizza guy?
Because we were high school.
Now that's
dumbasses.
a dick move.
Yeah. Totally.
That's a dick move.
You
right
know,
there.
come on. Okay,
poor
dude.
pizza guy. He's like probably some teenage kid getting by and stuff like that.
Dude.
Living off
what?
of like $2 tips for pizza.
It was, dude.
Oh.
Did you do it without even tipping him too?
No, we tipped them, but it was all like pennies, dimes, and nickels.
Oh, that's bad.
But you know what? Come on. Like you guys were never dickheads in high school.
Of course.
Yeah, dude. So just because you're with your buddy, we cut school, so we're at his house and we're watching a Godfather marathon while we're supposed to be at school, and we're hanging out. And we're like, let's get a pizza. And we're like, dude, it would be hilarious. So fucking guy shows up, and I'm in the back. Like a dumbass. You're watching your friend because I don't have the guts to give him the coins. I'm like, I don't want to do it. I'll do it.
Just like,
yeah, and that's exactly what he did. He took it. He goes,
it's like you fucking kids.
yeah, exactly. He's like, and then he leaves, and we're like,
teenagers.
We're fucking crazy. Yeah, that's hell. That's messed. That's messed up.
Couple of assholes
for sure.
Yeah.
Hey, the opposite of assholes. Super nice. Check this out. So you guys, obviously, I just moved recently, and I had, and this is different. This just shows you I love good companies like this. So I have like my dog food on delivery. I've got Butcher Box being delivered to me. What other companies that we have on auto ship, right? Every single month. Mm-hmm. And it was a headache because the time that we were transferring to the new address, some of the stuff was already in transit.
Oh.
And I ate it. I lost some of that. The only company that was rock solid was Butcher Box.
Butcher Box does that.
Yeah.
They not only did they
their customer
they
service
ate
is a
it.
medal.
They ate.
Yes.
They ate it, and they shipped me a whole new box out to the new place.
They did the same thing to me because where I live, if you type in my address, it'll take you to the back where the garage is because the garage is separate from the place I live in. So you could either deliver things in the front door or the GPS or whatever will take you to the garage.
Right.
Well, we don't see stuff that's delivered by the garage unless I'm leaving or coming home. And so that happened to us. And, it's packed in the freezer thing or whatever.
Yeah.
It was over a weekend. We were in the house all day long. None of us ever left the garage. So I'm like, I go on my email. I'm like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
I go out there. I had been sitting out there. It was in the summer. So it was fucked because it melted and got hot or whatever. And their customer service is incredible.
They're so good. They forgot bacon. They had some deal with bacon, and we opted in, wanted to have that in the order, and it didn't show up. And so all we did was just contact them, and then they gave us a whole another order of 5 or 6 things of bacon.
Wow.
I was like, yeah.
Have you guys? Okay, please tell me you tried their pork chop. I know I bring this up all the time.
I still haven't.
Oh, come on, dude.
Yeah, I know.
I am not a fan of pork. I'm not a big pork.
I haven't
dude.
done that one yet.
They're like this big, right? They're like this circle or whatever. And we do the iron skillet. Mm-hmm. And then Jessica makes this butter, garlic, I don't know what the hell it is, sauce or whatever you call it, and pour it over. It's incredible. And I don't like pork, but it's so tender and sweet and delicious.
I've had pork with some apple maple glaze thing on it. It was delicious. Yeah, but of course that's really sweet.
Yeah, I'm a big fan.
All right. I've been saying I'm going to do it for. All right. I got some controversy for us today.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's my favorite thing.
So, Doug, did you got that? You got that picture for me? So, if you could pull that picture up, I'm going to tell these guys the background. Okay. So today is NCAA tournament, right? March Madness is officially starting, I think, today.
Is that racquetball?
Huh?
Racquetball?
Yeah, racquetball. Okay. So I got tagged on this picture, and I actually just went back and so I got tagged early on it, right? This some girl posted this. I don't know who she is. Small following. I think.
Oh, you sent this to us.
Yeah, she was like, I think she's some coach or something. I don't know who she is, but she's small following, less than I think 5,000-6,000 followers. But the post has gone viral since last night. So I saw it. I didn't comment. I just looked at it, and I was like, I thought it was interesting, and so I screenshot it. I sent it over to you guys. So this is so right now you've got the big tournaments going on. So this is the men's and women's basketball tournaments, and they're doing very similar to what the NBA did. They have this bubble. right? So
for COVID or whatever.
Yeah, for COVID, they stay there for the entire month or whatever
Got it.
with the duration of the tournament, and they set up these facilities. So the picture on the top is the men's facility to work out, and the picture on the bottom is what the women got.
Okay, so the top is
for
like a full-on gym.
Right.
You got
Yeah,
bumper
barbells,
plates,
bumper plates,
the whole deal.
Yeah, I'm going to take it even further. So I'm going to, for the audience, so they can get
Benches.
an idea. I would estimate, okay, based off of what I can see from these photos, that the men's facility has probably got about $250,000 worth of equipment.
It's a gym.
Yeah,
this is
it's
a nice
more.
gym.
It's more than. I mean, I can see 6 or 7 full squat racks
Yeah.
and platforms. I mean, it's sick.
Now
It's
It's basically like a CrossFit competition. Like they're outfitting the entire place
Yes.
for it.
Right.
Now the women's facility has a dumbbell tree.
yeah,
That's it.
And a little table.
Literally, it's like
and
what you
so-
find at your aunt's house.
and a yoga mat. And so I would say probably
Is that the full picture though?
okay, even if it's not, let's pretend
Yeah,
it is
okay.
for argument's sake right
Yeah.
now. Okay, so now I if you guys see, look at it, it's already got 94,000 views. I saw some of our peers that I know in the fitness space.
So with this highlight,
Yeah, there's some outrage.
there's people flipping out right now.
Of course. Now, look, this is, and I know what they're saying. Oh, it's sexist. The men get all this amazing equipment. The women get this no equipment or whatever. And I get I get that sentiment. But here's this is just the truth, whether it's fortunate or unfortunate. And I'll give you some examples of the reverse. Here's the truth. These are market-driven industries. Men's college basketball draws a lot of money and viewers. Women's basketball does not.
Well, let me give you some specifics to that, because I had to go look this up before I even opened my mouth about it, because I right away thought the same thing, Sal. I was like, I knew that men's basketball draws more, but how much more I wasn't sure. Is it like a crazy discrepancy? Is it
Right.
It's massively
it's
different.
not even in the same universe.
So the NCAA men's basketball tournament, okay, draws over $700 million a year.
Okay.
Okay. The women's loses money every single year.
Yeah.
And that's just for the tournament. The whole rest of the year. Did you guys know that over 99% of all the women's basketball college programs lose money every year?
I know.
And you have colleges like Duke University, Tennessee. Tennessee, by the way, broke records a few years back where the girls team had like the most unbelievable streak. I think UConn did the same thing too. All three of those schools, they spend over $1 million, lose almost $1 million a year on the women's program. So then I see this, right? And it comes up and I see everybody outraged.
People say it's not fair, but that's the way. Look, I'll tell you what, there are markets where the reverse is true. If you look at, for example, fashion models, women out-earn men tremendously.
Is that true?
Absolutely. Top fashion models, women generally crush men. There's way more. Name 5 fashion models that are men. Name 5 that are women.
Well, I don't know either one of those. So
Well, you would know. I bet you can name 3 at least that are women. Maybe from our era. But that's just
that's
one
right, from our era.
Yeah, I know. Cindy Crawford,
Yeah,
Kate Moss,
Naomi Campbell.
Claudia, whatever. So I mean, and that's just
Tyra Banks.
Yeah, and that's just markets. It's just look. It's the same reason why men pay more money for car insurance than women. Did you guys know that? It's because men get more tickets and more accidents.
Yeah.
It's
more of a risk.
It's all market driven. And so, and again, it's okay. Look at Hollywood actors, right? Male actors tend to out earn female actors. Well, the truth is the male actors, people pay to go watch them. And here's another part of this kind of inconvenient truth, I guess, is that even women will spend more money watching men play basketball than watch women.
Yeah.
So it's just
Well, of course that's true.
Yeah,
Or else
it is an uncomfortable
yeah,
truth.
there's the top fashion models. So I don't see any guys, right? They're all
No, it was 19 and they were all women. You're right. You're
so
right.
it's all market driven. And here's the deal, and this is what I love about this. If you think this is unfair, so if you're the one that gets outraged by this and you see this, you're like, that's not fair. Take a mirror and look at your own face.
Do you watch women's basketball?
It's us. We're the ones that drive it. Because if the consumers all of a sudden switch to watching all women's basketball, it would go in the other direction.
I'd like to propose too. Like, so what are because there are sports that get a lot more attention. Like, let's say tennis, for instance, like in women's tennis. I'm sure that in terms of like getting eyes and views, like they're probably making a substantial amount of more money than women's basketball.
Yeah, I would assume so. so. But generally speaking, men's sports tend to do better in terms of earning.
It's just interesting because you see a picture like that. I mean, you feel for, these women's teams, like, that's shitty. Like, it sucks to kind of, see discrepancies that are that vast, right? But again, it's an inconvenient truth that, like, what do you do with that? Because, like, if we, what do we want to do? We want to just throw a lot more money in there to kind of like level the playing field. But now it's even more in depth in terms of like, okay.
I just hate that everything goes straight to being sexist or racist today.
Yeah.
Like right away, it has to be sexist or racist instead of like looking a little bit deeper into this. Like, is it really? And your point is perfect, Sal. It's like, if we all said, you know what, men's basketball is kind of boring.
If everybody
women's
stopped watching
basketball is way more entertaining,
they would be the reverse.
And we all started watching it,
100%.
Totally,
and buying the jerseys and going to the games and buying all the popcorn while we're watching and spending all the money, and it began to make that kind of. Now the argument on the other side is that they don't get the same exposure, therefore that's the reason why they're not.
It's the exposure follows the demand. Right. It's not controlled by someone at the top who's like, we're going to make sure that nobody. That's not true. Okay, look at the UFC, right? Mm-hmm. UFC included women's fighting, and at one point, the top fighter in the UFC pay was Ronda Rousey. At one point, she was making more money than everybody else. By the way, she wasn't the best fighter. She just had the biggest draw. In fact, I know a lot of fighters who fight professionally, and they'll tell you, and it's frustrating for them, that oftentimes the best fighters are not the ones that are paid the most. Yeah. It's the guys and girls that have the biggest draw. Look at who's that YouTube guy that went and made a shit ton of money fighting the basketball player, Jake Paul or whatever.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, look at that. Here you are. You're a boxer, and you've been training your entire life in golden gloves and getting your head bashed, and you're fighting. And then you got some dude who's just a YouTube star, made millions of dollars off one fight. That's not fair. Mm-hmm. But that's just the consumers are the ones that decide. So we're the ones that have to.
It's tough. You got to turn it back on yourself and like your own habits and what you're into and why are you into it. You got to like really assess that.
Now, where does Title IX stand in this? Like, what exactly does that? What does that do in a situation like this?
I know that I'm not super familiar, but I do believe.
Can you pull that up, Doug? Can you do a quick little rundown on and school me on Title IX?
Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, it basically guarantees a certain amount of scholarships.
It's more scholarship driven. Yeah.
Is it just that? I think there's more to that.
Well, yeah. I'm sure there's some stipulations in terms of like how much money they allocate towards the programs. I would think, like I would be interested to see what that looks like.
Yeah, and this is obviously going to piss a bunch of people off. But the irony of this,
here it is. It's a federal law that states no person in the United States shall, on the basis of sex, being excluded from participation in, being denied the benefits of, or be subjected to discrimination under any education program or activity receiving federal financial assistance. So if it gets any federal financial assistance,
which all these colleges do,
then they have to have men and women's, essentially is what they're saying.
It's not. It's further than that. It's also the benefits. So then, there's the argument right there is that, okay, all these big schools, the Dukes, the Harvards, the Stanfords, all these schools are getting government assistance. And so because they're getting government assistance, the women should get equal benefits, right?
I don't know if it means
sure
that.
Sounds like that to me.
I think it means we're going to have a program. We're going to have women's sports that are. So if we have a men's team, we have a women's team.
Yeah, if you read that again, it goes into the benefits of it. What does that say, Doug?
Yeah, that's not it right there.
Oh, that's different.
Yeah, that's different. Yeah, so no, I don't think it means that they get. I think the in terms of money and all that stuff, I don't think it means that. I think it just means that they have the sport, that they have it available, and that they provide scholarships.
Well, I mean, so it sounds like it's a gray area, right? I think you're right, and that's why legally the school can get away with sticking the girls with the yoga mats and 10 pounds. That's all they get, and then the guys get $250,000 worth of equipment because legally they're probably protected. But I don't know. It's interesting to me too because here's the truth, and again, this is probably going to upset people, but whatever, it's the truth. If there was a school, okay, let's take it out of Division I and there's like a small school that's trying to get by, and they have a men's football team, okay, and it was losing money for 3 years in a row.
Yeah, your program's getting cut.
Gone.
Yeah.
Program's
deleted.
Gone.
Yeah. They actually have a law that protects them to always have a program.
By the way, the reason why these private colleges spend so much money and energy on some of these sports is because that's what generates revenue for the colleges. It's what brings people in.
Of course.
They buy their merchandise. You got people paying, trying to get into these schools. That's the only reason why they spend so much. Because if you go to some of these colleges, you should see how much money they spend. Go to their stadiums and their gyms and they spend tremendous amounts of money on their sports programs and oftentimes bend a lot of rules in order to allow students to come in who are really good at certain sports. Why do they do that? It generates a lot of money. And again, we're the ones that control that. I learned this as a kid. I remember as a young kid, I don't remember where we were going. We were driving somewhere, and I was just looking out the window and I was paying attention to things. And I would see liquor stores, right? And I was old enough to understand that, alcohol, cigarettes are not good for people. And I asked my mom in the front, my mom and dad, I said, how come I see so many liquor stores as we're driving, but I don't see like as many grocery stores or, churches or schools and stuff like that? And I said, that's terrible. They're trying to get people to drink a lot of alcohol.
Just giving you what you want.
Yeah. And my mom and dad said, what do you think would happen if nobody went to the liquor store and bought alcohol and cigarettes? Said they would disappear. So the reason why there's so many of them is because we people keep going to them and giving them their money. Yeah. So it's all market driven. So it's all reflected on us. And so this is just the way it is. It's just the men's sports generate a lot of money, and that's just the bottom line. But sometimes, again, I use the UFC as an example because for a second there, Ronda Rousey was the top paid athlete in the UFC. Had nothing to do with the fact, it was because she drew so many people.
Did she surpass everybody at one point?
At one point she was,
because she's in the same era as McGregor. I don't think she ever passed McGregor.
I think at one point she was the highest. I don't know if McGregor was.
I mean, I definitely know that at one point
she was definitely one of the highest.
She was the first female to be the main event. I know that. I know that, but I don't know if she ever surpassed what McGregor was making.
She definitely was one of the top. If not the top, she was definitely up there. In terms of her draw. So.
Yeah, I know she was high. I didn't think that she ever was. I don't know if she was the top at the time or not. I don't think.
Maybe Doug can find what her pay. Oh,
maybe though. Maybe I'm.
I mean, it's
there. You go. Ronda Rousey talks being the UFC's highest paid fighter.
Wow.
So she was at one point, just because people wanted to watch her.
It was
fight.
fascinating. Yeah.
And again, she wasn't the best fighter. She wasn't. She got her ass kicked by a couple people afterwards, but.
She was entertaining to watch.
She was very entertaining to watch. I mean, she ended up in WWE because of it, because she was so entertaining. What's his name? Brock Lesnar. He jumps in the UFC, never fought in MMA, and they paid him a shit ton of money to fight. I forgot who it was that he fought. It was
Frank Mir.
Frank Mir, who at that time was kind of like, he'd already fought.
Armbarred the shit out of him and leg locked him or something.
It's just a draw, you know? So college sports are like that. And so it is what it is.
Like back to your Logan Paul thing. Like that's like nobody really, obviously there's people that want to see it, but like people like me that are like into actual boxing or into actual like UFC fighting, like it to me, I'm like, I don't want to see that happen. But guess what? There's a lot of people that want to see that happen. And so they pay for it to happen. And so that's just what you have to recognize.
I just think it's so funny when people get outraged by this type of stuff and go right away to this. I think they envision like there's these, a group of.
Ask them how much money they spend on watching
10 old straight white males that are like trying to suppress all these women. They're like, hey, let's just fuck them and give them yoga mats and dumbbells, and then we're going to hook the boys up with a quarter.
No.
Like, it's not like that. I guarantee there's a budget.
Some conspiracy.
You know what I'm saying? They're like, okay, this is all the money we have to spend. Where's some of the money going to go? Where's some of it not going to go? And they're like,
let me tell you what runs these people at the top more than anything. There's one color that matters more than any other
that's
color.
Right, green.
It's green.
Yes.
And if they see green,
it's not sexist, it's not biased, it's not racist.
All of a sudden, all of their their biases are gone. I don't give a shit. I can hate you all I want. You're making me money. Cool. Let's put you at the front.
Yeah.
And let's make a deal. It's just kind of the way.
Speaking of crazy money and business, did you guys anyone watch the Blockbuster documentary yet?
Oh no,
it's trending on Netflix right now, and I almost didn't watch it. Katrina wanted to watch it, and I was like, I kind of know this story already, but I'm glad I did because there was a lot of things I didn't know. Like for one, do you guys remember, because it was in our lifetime, it was in the 80s, the evolution of movie cassettes, movies at home? It was not that long ago that you couldn't watch a movie that was just in the movie theater on a cassette tape on your TV at home. That was during our lifetime when that transition happened. Do you remember that transition?
Oh man, I just remember we were young. I mean,
we were.
I remember the mom and pop video stores was a thing for a while. Like Blockbuster wasn't really the dominant force at the time. It was like all these little mom and pop shops, and you would go in, and it was like you're borrowing it, but really they made money off of the late fees. Right?
Yeah, we used to go to a place called 1 Hour Photo Drive Up. That was the name of the place we went to get our.
So there's a couple like really interesting things. First of all, that was actually a very short window. It was early '80s when it hit, and it was only for the very early '80s, like '80 to I think '84.
By the way, you know what industry drove the creation of those VCRs and tapes? Pornography.
So that actually brings me to one of my. So you guys and think about what a ballsy move it was for the first guy, because there was a Blockbuster type of video store before Blockbuster. It was called, I forget what the guy named it. It was in Texas, and that was like what catapulted the first like Blockbuster kind of like idea. But how ballsy was it that he goes out and builds this superstore that was going to have 10, 15 of every single DVD. It's going to be massive, and then not have an adult section. Think of the cojones that it would take to do that, knowing what you just said.
Yeah, because before that was it. I mean, anybody who rented movies early was because you were renting.
And that's why they had that shady back room. You got to think that was where they were making most of their money.
So he wanted to make it like family.
Right. Very family. Yeah, and go all big like that. But it paid off, right? I mean, he did really well, and I believe that first one got sold to somebody who later on turned it into a franchise, which is Blockbuster. But where they really crushed was when they actually made a deal with movies. So when it originally came out, I did not know this. Do you know what the original video cassette, if you were to buy like the Honey I Shrunk the Kids or whatever the fuck was going on in the 80s, what that would cost on cassette when you first bought it? You know, $99.
And that was back then dollars?
Yes.
Wow. Not even adjusted for inflation.
$300 something right now, right?
And here's the thing.
Soon it's going to be $1 million.
People thought it was a good deal. Because the way they thought of it was, I could have 10 of my friends over. We would collectively spend almost that much money going to the movie theater.
So you just charge your friends to come watch.
I mean, I imagine that's what they did, or they all went together.
Plus, it was a new technology. I mean, you got to think of that. I remember my dad's first video,
like a status thing.
My dad's first recorder to record home movies was like $300 something back then. I would never spend that much money on a tech, on something to record people nowadays.
Yeah.
But it was just new.
Yeah. So obviously somebody gets smart and goes, oh my God, I can buy all these things and then I'll rent them to people for a couple dollars.
Yeah.
So that model comes out, explodes an entire industry. So now all the mom and pops pop up. Now what puts them completely out of business is Blockbuster goes and makes a deal with the movie.
So they get it first?
Not only they get it first, they get 100 copies per store, and they get it for $5 a movie instead of $99 a movie.
That's smart.
And they give them a rev share. So they offer they offer all offer the movie industry, all the big production companies, a kickback on on all of the rentals. And so so they make this deal. Oh, okay. Well, then we're going to give you all these copies for super low price, so they can fill all their stores. And it just completely monopolized it.
I remember those mom and pops. You get like 1 or 2 copies, and like if you weren't there right away, like it was gone.
Is there anything more disappointing than going to the video store? You see the box. This is how they used to display them. They would have like boxes of the movies, and you're like, oh shit, Terminator 2.
Yeah.
You'd grab the box, and behind it would be no video. Yeah. Fuck.
Yeah.
They're gone.
Yeah.
How many times did you see Critter before you actually finally rented it? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it was like, this movie looks weird.
I remember Critter.
I remember going up to the guy at the counter. This is before Blockbuster days, right? And being like, hey, when's it due back?
Yeah.
And asking him, like, well, it's supposed to be due on Tuesday at 4
Just remember, be kind, rewind.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
You guys remember that?
Yes, I remember that. I remember watching videos with my parents, and like a dirty scene would come up, like boobs or whatever. And it's VCR, so you can either stop it and fast forward it and predict when the scene is over, which sometimes you'd be mid naked, so he'd like stop, rewind, fast forward, hit play. Oh shit, stop! And so then what he would do is he would just fast forward it while it was playing, so you could kind of see what's going on. And I'd be sitting there like, yeah.
Do you know that was one of the dumbest moves that Blockbuster ever did to try and compete with Netflix when Netflix started to come out of nowhere? They decided to waive all late fees. to try and rival, because that was Netflix big. I don't know if you guys remember.
Yeah, Netflix used to mail you DVDs.
Yeah, and there was no late fees. No
yeah.
late fees. You just when you mailed them back, you got your next set, and that was like the way their model.
Blockbuster, brilliant at first, dumb at the end.
Yeah.
Didn't Netflix try to approach them to work with them?
$50 million. They got laughed out of the office, dude. $50 million is what they could have bought Netflix for. What is it? What is Netflix valued at right now? Billions, right?
I don't know.
Yeah,
in the billions.
At least a few Bitcoin.
Yeah, at least a few.
Yeah, they're in the billions, right? So if they could have it for $50 million.
Let's find out.
What did that cut? So they cut out the late fees. Like, what did that hurt them financially?
$250 million a year annually, right away.
Just like that.
Instantly. Just lost it.
Well, they were
Yeah,
desperate.
that was like the majority of
They
the
weren't
revenue.
dead. They weren't dead yet.
No, I'm saying they probably were desperate. They were probably like, what do we do?
Oh,
Maybe thinking they could put Netflix out of business.
Yeah.
By doing something like that.
Yeah. I don't know if they thought they could put Netflix out of business, but I think they thought they could keep trucking along, and they didn't.
Net worth 2020, what does it say there, Doug?
$125 billion?
Wow.
Wow.
So they could have bought it for $50 million. And they'd be, for a long time, Netflix didn't make any money. Do you guys know that?
Most of these companies.
For a long time,
Just about billion net
it
worth.
made no money, and then eventually they started, making money.
And there was a time when Blockbuster, they had the power. Even when Netflix was on the rise and becoming very popular, they still had the capital. Because Netflix was, like you said, losing, and they're just building their network. They could have squashed them, and they didn't.
Did they get into Redbox at all? Because I remember at the same time, they kind of emerged.
They reference Netflix and Redbox as the two major competitors that shifted the market in that direction.
Talk about a short window of success, right? Redbox, for a second they were doing
The
great.
vending machine of movies.
Yeah, and then done. Then that was it.
Did it die completely? Because you still see those. Do
you?
Yeah,
you do. In
there was one
grocery
over there.
stores.
Yeah, there was one. Yeah, exactly. They were in grocery stores.
Who the hell
still.
is going to a Redbox right now?
Bro, there's
old
still
people?
a Blockbuster. There's still one.
There's one.
Yeah, there's still one.
Where is it, like Alaska
No,
or something?
Bend, Oregon.
That's right.
There were ones before it that were Alaska.
It's probably more like a tourist attraction.
It is
isn't it?
now.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it's turned into. It's turned
It's a
into
hipster mecca.
Yeah. Blockbuster made a lot of money off of, I'm sure, candy and popcorn and shit like that. Nobody ever rented a movie and didn't buy
you know what?
candy and
They
popcorn.
actually didn't talk a lot about how much revenue that generated.
I was all about the red vines and popcorn. That was the thing. That was the combination. Red vines, popcorn.
Is
and
Redbox still alive, Doug?
Yeah, it is.
It is
Alive
still
and well.
Alive and well, even.
I don't know how well, but
Yeah.
it's still
I mean, you got to
a
think
thing.
there's these rural towns that don't have access to a lot of stuff. Probably don't even have. There's a lot of places. Okay, so where I grew up, near
People who want to be off the grid. I ain't going to sign up for some shit. They
Well,
know
no,
where I'm at.
it's not even. It's not even that. So I was. I
Walmart
lived up
towns.
in Don Pedro, right where Don Pedro Lake is, which is kind of. This is about 2-3 hours from here. About 3 hours from here, and it's up in nowhere, small ass population town. Their internet service is terrible.
Yeah.
So you're not streaming anything. It's still today.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of like my best friend's
I
parents'
know a lot
house.
of towns like that, and all they have in town is Mountain Mike's Pizza. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's it.
Always.
Yeah.
Yeah, always a Mountain Mike's Pizza.
So
and
places
then,
like that
Walmart
are
or
still
something.
rocking DVDs. They're still.
I guess you're right.
Yeah, they're still
Until they get the internet blimps that what's his name said he was going to build.
Yeah.
What did he say? Is it Elon or Facebook?
I thought Facebook was doing that.
Yeah,
the
they're
free
flight-
the free blimps that are going to go over and give
Yeah.
everybody
Yeah,
internet.
that's Facebook because Elon's the satellites. Right?
satellite.
Did you see the news on Facebook? They're dropping their glasses soon.
I didn't read the article.
So they're
So what is it? Are they like?
augmented reality?
Yeah,
or-
So okay, they're being all coy about it. Maybe Doug can pull an article up and we can dive into it a little bit. But
You can like people and dislike them in real life.
They're-
Oh, that motherfucker.
they're trying to downplay it a little bit because originally, I think back in 2017, they said like this, these VR AR glasses are coming out, but it's not going to be completely augmented reality yet. And so they're just talking about how you got these new glasses. I don't know. It smells very Google glasses to me again.
Yeah, it's probably like notifications, like a visual icon or something in the corner. I would guess. I'm like, they're probably just trying to flirt with it so you get used to the idea of having something like flashing in front of you.
Here's what I think would be cool. If you got these not that I would use them because I think it's getting crazy, but let's say you have these glasses on and then you walk up to a restaurant and it immediately shows you all the friends that you know that like and reviewed that restaurant on your glasses.
Yeah.
I wonder if this is good. You look at it and it's like, your friend John said this restaurant
Dude,
sucks.
it's Minority Report. I'm telling you guys, that was like the most accurate depiction of like what the future could look like because you're walking down the street, you're getting advertised to just by looking at certain stores, like certain things are popping out in front of you. Like you liked this, why don't you come back in?
Wow.
Yeah.
And it's going to record everything in
Guaranteed.
front of you.
That's the article I was reading right there, Doug. That's the exact one.
Smart glasses.
Yeah.
Speaking of glasses, Justin,
Yeah.
Damn, those look good on you.
Yeah,
I
I'm trying to wear them more often. My eyes have been getting strained. I noticed like headaches. Like I thought it was like I was dehydrated or whatever, but like I've been on my phone and computer like a lot more frequently lately and I'm getting headaches.
What frames are those?
So these are the Jamesons from Felix Gray.
Okay, so
They look really, really good.
I wear the Nash. Do you know
Yeah,
which
the Nash
one?
are the smaller ones.
Yeah,
I have those too.
I do the Nash.
You have Nash.
Yeah, I don't
okay.
have
No, you have a narrow face like me.
Yeah, I don't have the block.
You gotta get big. You gotta go big, dude. Like I almost need those grandma frames. You know what I mean? Like the big
Now
old-
you wear prescription glasses too, right?
Yeah.
So did you get your prescription into your Felix Grays?
I did not. These ones are just the blue blocking ones, but I have that pair. Like I have like 3 pairs, dude. Like, I have
Well,
one
I'm
at
probably
my
going to
house,
start
too.
wearing them in here too because I mean, you can't see this whole thing. We're literally inside a box that's for production, and there's zero natural light that's coming in.
There's not a window
It's
in here.
no, it is. I
Yeah.
feel like we're in a bomb shelter. It's 100% super bright.
You get a feeling after you leave too, right?
Oh.
And I've noticed like wearing these, like I don't get quite as like I feel like fatigued almost.
Yeah.
Leaving this place.
Hey, did you guys get to see the article on reproduction and penis sizes shrinking and all that stuff?
Oh, I heard you mention this.
Oh,
Our dicks
bro.
are shrinking.
Yeah,
Hey.
not ours. We're already set.
Oh, we're okay.
Yeah, we're good because we
That's not what the
I was
article
like-
said. It's
No.
the next generation.
So it's kind of good news for us,
How do
right?
we counter this?
Because
Yeah.
by comparison, you're
We're gonna be huge.
yeah,
soon.
you're now larger than average because of, No, so this is crazy. This is kind of crazy. So there's a book that came out that talks about Shauna. So the author Shauna Swan, she's an environmental and reproductive epidemiologist. So she's obviously a scientist, and she's studying what's happening right now with our reproductive health, testosterone levels, like all the stuff. And now we've known for decades men's testosterone levels have been dropping, and our ability to reproduce has been dropping for a while. Sperm counts have been going down, women's ability to reproduce. So she did this book where she actually goes and studies everything and highlights everything. Bro, this is crazy. You ready for this? This is scary stuff now. This is actually quite terrifying. So sperm counts, okay, in men since 1973 have dropped almost 60%.
Wow.
So since 1973, which is not that long before we were born,
Right.
sperm counts are down 60%. If we can continue on this trajectory, so there's a